Hey everyone, we're here in Chicago and I am joined by CM Punk, who takes on Mike Jackson this Saturday at UFC 225. First off, how you feeling? Because it's fight week, you had a lot going on, there's a weight cut.
My wife loves you. That's the first thing I had to say.
And I love her so
on
much.
Camera.
She's the greatest.
And I don't want to go home and get yelled at, so that's that. I feel good right now. It's been a rough week, but it's been a rough couple months, rough year or two. But it's over, and I'm stoked that it happened. My first fight week rolled into my second fight week, and here I am now.
Was it hard to mentally kind of compartmentalize things? You do have a fight to focus on, you have other things going on, but making sure that you put the right amount of focus on each?
It wasn't hard, per se. Like, I felt the weight of it all. There's a lot to deal with at once, but I'm actually really, really super good at compartmentalizing things, I look at it like I can compare it to a hockey player playing in the Stanley Cup Finals, or I can compare it to an MMA fighter looking at his entire day for the gym or whatever he has to do. I have to get up and walk my dog. Oh my God, then I gotta go to gi at noon. Then I gotta go to pro practice and you know what I mean? So I was doing a lot of that. That's kind of the way I rolled with it, and with occasional freakouts sprinkled liberally in between.
We haven't seen you, in about 21 months. So what has that time been like? Because I know you didn't step away from the sport. You just weren't so much in the spotlight.
What am I going to do? What am I going to say? To me, it was just about getting back to the gym, getting back to the grind, as everybody likes to say, and just getting better. Nothing I could have said in the last 21 months, nothing I could say right now will speak louder than anything that I can do if I show what I know I'm potentially capable of in the Octagon.
21 months is sort of a random amount of time. Were you waiting for a Chicago card? Were you waiting for like a physical milestone? Were you waiting for, just to feel great? Why this card? Why return now? Why do a camp now?
There were injuries that sidelined me. So once there are injuries, what do you do? What do you talk about? I'm not asking for a fight when I'm injured. So once we had a pretty good stretch, of time where I wasn't injured and I was consistently in the gym, making leaps and bounds, and those are all better questions for my coaches and stuff like that, but I trust them implicitly. They're not going to tell me I'm getting better at something and I'm not.
And how do you feel about fighting here? Sometimes there's pressure, sometimes it's a relief.
I think there's a lot of both, It depends on what side of the bed I wake up on that day. I just remember getting the text message, and showing Duke, like, hey, what do you think? And he was just like, he was immediately ecstatic. He's just like, you're not going to get offered to fight in your hometown many times. And you got to, that's just one you can't say no to. You got to say yes.
And you were facing Mike Jackson. And, I actually talked to Mickey Gall. He's predicting you to win this fight. He really likes the matchup for you. How are you looking at the matchup with Mike Jackson?
I always thought it was a great matchup. MMA math, right? Like, Mickey fights Mike, Mickey fights Phil. Two guys who lost to Mickey in the first round fight each other. It makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
And I think experience-wise, age-wise, there was a lot of gaps between Mickey and Mike, and Mickey and myself, obviously, and all these are a lot closer.
People are looking at him as more of the striker in the matchup. They're looking at you as more of the grappler. You said you consider yourself more of a grappler. But now that you've done like another full fight camp, you're obviously well prepared for wherever the fight goes. Is there something that you're expecting out of yourself this time around?
Yeah, I'm fully expecting to win, but I'm also expecting to approach everything differently. I think I was shockingly calm to a fault last time. All these people talk about Octagon shock, all the bright lights, and all of a sudden you're surrounded by all these people. I've had a lifetime of that. So I was just like, it's not going to happen to me. And I was almost too blasé about it, And now, even just talking to you, my heart's beating a little bit faster now. And I think it helps that I'm in Chicago. I think it helps that anytime I look at my wife in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I really let her down last time. I was at the first event first public event ever at the United Center. It was SummerSlam 1994. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart in a cage. I've seen the Stanley Cup hoisted on home ice there. I've seen Bulls games. So there'll be familiarity, and I had that in Cleveland too, because I'd wrestled in that building 1,000 times. But I think the pressure I feel and the weight of the situation, I think, will make me less chill and less calm. And just the experience of the first fight is going to carry me through.
Once you got in the Octagon for that first fight and, the door closed and the fight was on, you were quick to start moving in there. So it almost seemed like you went from super calm to, all right, let's get this party started. What's the different approach this time around?
Yeah, I think to not have that urgency, or to have it and compartmentalize it and know when to use it. And I think getting comfortable, being relaxed, and just taking my time. Obviously I've watched 1,000 fights, and I've sparred a whole bunch in between then and now, and I've watched a whole lot of sparring sessions. So I just watch what other people do, and there's strategy behind everything, and this time out, I just taking my time and getting my feet under me, settling in.
Is that something where you'll do, a walkthrough, or once weigh-ins are over, you step into the Octagon, kind of get the feel? Are you a guy who likes to have that sort of experience before the experience?
Yeah, well, I've only done it the one time, but my coaches live and die by it. I do what they say, and, that's what we did last time. And that's what we're gonna do this time. I just think familiarity. I think that's what Fight Week is for. All the hard work's done, so you're just, as long as you keep your movement going, and your weight's fine. It's just more about getting in there and putting yourself in those situations, and it's just experience.
You mentioned the weight. How's the weight cut this time around?
Fine. I didn't have a problem last time.
I know.
I tried
it's just different your first time.
I think a lot of people were concerned about the weight cut because I've been sitting in court for 9 to 5 every day, and then
but not eating, so
yeah, that's right. And that's the thing too. It's just like, it's very, I compartmentalize. I'll wake up and I'll do my sprints, and then, okay, now I'll deal with court. And then when I'm done with court, I go home, and it's just like, kiss your wife, walk your dog. Okay, now I'm gonna deal with the 90-minute, 2-hour bag workout I gotta do. So I think it's helped, and it's, I liken it, not that I want to completely liken it to a religious, spiritual experience, but my teammate Bilal Muhammad, I watched this guy train and fight during Ramadan, and he's not eating or drinking from sun up to sundown. I kind of looked at me sitting in court like my Ramadan. I was like, oh, this is something I got to do, so let's do it, and then I'll train before and after.
You're kicking off the pay-per-view. You've obviously got millions of fans who are on your side, millions of fans who have waited for this second opportunity in the Octagon. How are they inspiring you, and how do they then lift your spirits to say that I'm going to get my hand raised and I know this is how it's going to happen?
I appreciate all my fans. I appreciate anybody who supports me, whether they're from wrestling or whether they only know me from writing comic books or whatever, wherever they found me from. I appreciate the support. It's pressure, but it's forward pressure. It's them behind me pushing me forward, and instead of me digging my heels in and not wanting to go, I'm bringing them along with me. And, there's a lot of things that I've been fortunate enough to be able to do, and I wouldn't be able to do if it wasn't for fans. So, this is, in a lot of ways, this is for them. This is the W they get for, putting up with a lot of my BS over the years.
How do you get that W?
I have dreams. I think a lot of guys do. They visualize stuff. I've seen a head kick or two, and would I love that for Duke. That's Duke's favorite thing in martial arts is a head kick, But I'm also not gonna push it. I'm not gonna be greedy. I'm not gonna be just throwing head kicks and hoping I score with it. If it's there, I'll take it. The smart money tells you that it'll be submission, but I'm open for anything. I might shock myself and knock him out. I don't know.
Well, we are so looking forward to this fight. I'm so glad to see you back in the Octagon. Best of luck to you.
Luck's for losers.